Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio, and today is a very, very rare Sunday upload. I don't typically upload anything on Sundays, but I came across this article here from Screen Rant, and that has to do with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny budget is among the most expensive movies. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's budget is among the most expensive movies of all time, according to Disney, ranking right behind Justice League. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's budget is among the most expensive movies of all time. Harrison Ford is returning for one last globe-trotting adventure as the eponymous intrepid. Blah 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 blah. We already know this. Now Disney's quarterly earnings report reveals just how much the studio shelled out for the latest installment of the Lucasfilm franchise. According to Forbes, the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny budget is $294.7 million, which makes it the 8th most expensive movie of all time, right behind Justice League and Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End.
You serious?
And no, we are not joking. This comes directly from Disney themselves. It's not like this was published on like Cosmic Book News or We Got This Covered. This was all according to Forbes, who got the information from Disney. But anyway, Justice League and the Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End both cost $300 million. For comparison, the most expensive movie of all time is Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, with a budget of $379 million. So, yeah, like this article asks, where Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's big budget is going. Now, I know they're trying to be like PG with it, but seriously, where the hell is the money going? What costed nearly $300 million for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? And to put this to also put this into perspective, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull had a reported production budget of $185 million. Now, granted, that was still a lot of money for an Indiana Jones movie, but it's still not $300 million. And Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I believe, is the highest grossing Indiana Jones movie if you don't take inflation into account. I'm going to stop the recording of this for a quick second to verify that information before I make an ass out of myself. So for me, this is going to be 2 minutes, but for you guys, it's going to be literally just about a second before we come back. Yes, I was right on my thing. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull grossed $790,653,942 worldwide, making it the highest grossing Indiana Jones movie thus far. Again, unadjusted for inflation, but still. Getting back to this, where the hell is this $300 million going for Indiana Jones 5? There are various reasons why Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny's budget has ballooned to one of the biggest of all time. The biggest factor that drove up its production costs was filming during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, resulting in various safety protocols being put in place and production delays, which were necessary to keep the cast and crew safe, but also drove up costs. Ford also reportedly suffered a shoulder injury while rehearsing a fight scene, which caused further production delays, which, yes, we did do a video on this at the time on the channel. I think it was my very first news video that I ever actually did on the channel as well. Another factor driving up the cost of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is its special effects. While the Indiana Jones franchise isn't one that's generally thought of as VFX heavy and mostly relies on practical effects, the fifth film uses CGI technology to significantly de-age Harrison Ford for an opening flashback sequence. This type of cutting-edge technology, which has been seen before in Lucasfilm's Star Wars franchise, does come at a cost. The Disney-owned 20th Century Studios took a similar gamble with Avatar: The Way of Water, another movie that relies heavily on CGI film during the height of COVID. The James Cameron-directed sequel ended up costing $350 million, the fourth most expensive movie ever, which wholly paid off with Avatar: The Way of Water grossing upwards of $2 billion. Disney is betting that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny sees similar success when it releases in theaters this summer. But here's the problem that Indiana Jones 5 really has going for it that you cannot ignore. And I've already touched on this in my video titled Indiana Jones and the Suspension of Disbelief, is that you cannot get around Harrison Ford's age at this point, right? Harrison Ford, an 80-year-old man, still coming back and doing an Indiana Jones movie. I remember reading articles, this was back in like 2004, when it was announced that Indiana Jones, and when Indiana Jones 4 at the time was going into production, it was not called Kingdom of the Crystal Skull yet, but still, when Indiana Jones 4 was announced to be, going into production, there were articles being written, questioning whether or not, Harrison Ford could even come back and do a fourth Indiana Jones movie, and this was back in 2004, almost 20 years ago at this point. Where are the articles now questioning whether or not Harrison Ford can even do an Indiana Jones 5, given the fact that he's now an 80-year-old man? Again, potential rumors and agenda aside, this is the 800-pound gorilla, the elephant in the room that you simply cannot ignore. Will Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny be the highest-grossing Indiana Jones movie of all time? Quite simply, I don't know, but there is a hell of a lot going against it right now that, that I don't think that it could really overcome. Again, suspension of disbelief. Are people going to really buy, an Indiana Jones movie with an 80-year-old Harrison Ford, or would it have been better to just reboot it and to just reboot Indiana Jones entirely with a new actor taking on the role? I mean, they already teased that Shia LaBeouf was going to be that actor to take on the role of Indiana Jones at the end of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. They're obviously not doing that here, but still, would it have been better to just reboot it with a new actor taking over and just allowing Harrison Ford to retire? Because my God, we don't want to bring back 80-year-old man and imagine all the jokes that are going to be made at this movie's expense, like, is Harrison Ford going to break his hip kind of thing. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this right here because I don't want to drag this out any longer than this needs to be. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me along, I'm terrible at ending these videos, so I'll just see you guys next time.